Would you like to make an announcement, Fabian, of any kind? No. Okay. Thanks, Pizza, to Darius. Do you want to say a word or two?
You'd like to make an announcement? Oops, sorry. Didn't know this was on.
Hey everyone, Darius Lectorius with NetCorp. I started the business in 1997, and in that time space since then, went on to work for various companies, ADP, a staffing company as well. I've done development, I've done database administration and development, I've done global hosting infrastructure architecture, so gone kind of through full stack. What I'm wanted to offer to all of you is if either you have opportunities that you need assistance with, or if you are even looking for work, I happen to know a lot of different recruiters in South Florida as well, so I'd be more than happy to plug you in with them. But as far as solutions that NetCorp offers, we're primarily focused on cloud transformation. So whether it's taking infrastructure as a service and lifting and shifting it into either AWS or Azure, certified in both, or an application development, PaaS, implementation stack that you need to either have architecture guidance and assistance with, or actually look to outsource some of the development effort. That's something that NetCorp offers. So just enjoy your pizza once it finally comes. I take no responsibility because he ordered it. No, I'm just kidding. But SignalR, close to my heart, good subject, and no one better than Damian to present on it. So.
All right, great. Maybe one other announcement here.
Thank you, Dave. So we organize in South America the biggest conferences about technology in Microsoft. So if you are speakers or know of speakers that would like to go down the south, in Uruguay, Argentina, Colombia, Chile, and this year we're going to do in Peru also, feel free to go to netconf.global or come talk to me, or both.
Right. Thanks, Fabian. Are you ready?
I am almost ready.
He is almost ready.
So keep on talking.
All right. And then in the beginning there was, any other announcements? Anybody want to say anything? We could do introductions, yeah. My name's Dave Noderer. I run FlaDotnet, the South Florida Code Camp, and I'm a software developer and Microsoft MVP here in South Florida.
Louis Dodson. I'm a .NET developer or C# developer for a while, for years. Now I've made the move over to data modeling on the data side. So.
Hi, my name's Simon. I worked as a programmer for about 20 years now, and mostly in network services and moving into data science.
My name is Terry Carroll, independent .NET developer. Been with Microsoft forever.
Name's Kevin, retired electrical engineer.
Yeah, we're almost peers here, so.
Hi, I'm Tom Molitor. I work for a company out of Denver, Colorado, and remotely, and .NET C# developer.
Hi, I'm Jacob Friesen. I work for a local startup here in Boca Raton as a software developer.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sammer. I work for a company called ComplyRight, C#.NET, Angular 4 and 5 mostly, so fun stuff.
ComplyRight, okay, cool. David, you'd like to introduce yourself?
I'm David Cobb. I am a system architect, solution architect with Checkall. We do this, and I also do some training and consulting. Recently certified with AWS, SysOps administration. So anybody's curious about AWS, and walk you through what I went through.
Hello, my name is Diego Torzano. I'm an independent consultant in the logistics, supply chain, and optimization. I've been doing C# for 15 years and Python and Google Go for the last 5 years.
Yeah. So I'm the CEO of a custom software solutions company. We work for all the East Coast. If you want to know more about our company or services, just let me know. I'm also the founders of the conference I just mentioned before. Yeah, I'm the vice president of globalization for the Uruguay IT chamber of If you want to know more, just let me know too.
I'm Dana Hones. I'm an architect and software developer working for Sugar.
Scott Ketterinsik. I'm a software developer in C#, .NET, .NET Core, and SQL Server.
He's also a key volunteer for CodeCamp. In fact, this year you did more than I did.
Webster Technology.
Yeah, does the website and all the handling speakers.
Webster Technology, we do integration of hardware and software.
Dave Morgan, up in Palm Beach Gardens, work for a company out of Melbourne and do mostly .NET, C#, SQL, and also LabVIEW. Seriously interested in the SignalR stuff.
My name is Nick Jordan. I'm a developer, mostly Java and Node.
Are you ready now, Mr. Montero? All right, take it away. Damian's also a co-organizer of this and the organizer of the Boca.js.
Yes, thank you very much. So I love the fact that some of you guys have said that you enjoy SignalR and you're excited to hear about it. I'm excited to teach you about it and let you know about it. The first time I presented this was 10 years ago, and you'll see at the very end of this what I've created. Now, we will do a little bit of code, live coding. I was watching Scott Hanselman. Anybody know who Scott Hanselman is? Everybody kind of knows who that is. It's a big advocate of Microsoft. And he said on to set the expectation as low as possible. So the idea is if it compiles, don't worry about it with warnings. Let's just say that we all agree I've been a successful presenter here. So if it doesn't, we'll see. If it comes in and out, don't worry about it. We'll go ahead and correct it with the volume. I've been doing this for 19 plus years, and the plus is because in March it'll be doing 20. Yes, I know, I look like a 20-year-old, but I'm actually a lot older than I look. Actually, I probably look like a 60-year-old. So I'm a lot younger than I look. I am the junior organizer here, and junior in the most junior sense. I've only been here in the organization for 2 years, but the organization actually is over a lot of years old. How's that? Anybody do the math quickly? It's 18 years. Yeah, thank you very much. We're here because of our friends here. The pizza I serve to you, according to Papa John's, will be here, and it's paid by the amazing Darius here. If you are thinking about using his services, well, you got to get in line. My company is a $4 billion company. We are using his services, and we had a problem. You don't know about this. You're about to learn about this. He was on a job interview. I should be a level 5. All the other level 4s know less than me. And they said, there's no such thing as a level 5. ADP specifically says there is no such thing as level 5. At ADP, Darius was a level 6. So, hire him. You'll thank yourself later. You guys know the Software CodeCamp. You guys were talking about it. I had it all presented, but we'll see what there. Next month, Mr. Robert, is Robert here? Robert is here every single meeting. I'm blown away that he's not here. If you haven't seen Robert speak, he has been doing mobile since mobile existed. Since Windows Phone, since when iPhone, the original one, he was originally a big Silverlight, don't laugh, developer that sort of moved into Windows Phone and then realized with Xamarin that he could move into every single platform. He's going to be presenting next month, and I hope you'll find us, and we'll see you guys there as well.
David, can you
Yes, sir.
watch your phone in case they're trying to get in touch with you?
Yes. Actually, let me hand you the phone.
All right, thank you.
So we are going to be giving away a free raffle. This is the website that 10 years ago for the .NET Miami, which Dave and some of the other people started in Miami when Miami was the only option. I'm very glad we have one in Boca. I created this website. This was a little bit of raffle. You guys would all get a ticket automatically on your phone. You guys probably have seen it already. And then what would happen is I would press a button on some computer, and magically this would okay. This will happen here. I'm going to just close that. So you guys will see that at the end. But more importantly, you'll see something unusual. So let's talk about it. I'm here to tell you about SignalR, and I'm here to tell you what it is. Anybody heard of SignalR? I know some of you guys were talking about it. Okay. You guys, do you feel like you know it well? Do you feel like you understand it? Okay. Do you guys know what? Okay. Do you guys think of different purposes for SignalR that you could use in your own businesses? You have a couple of ideas. What kind of ideas you got here?
I monitor.
So, so for the ones, let me make a quick little thing. If you don't know, let me get to it, and I do want to hear what you guys are thinking about using it for. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, absolutely. But give me a second. So what really it is, for those of you guys who don't know about it, it's a way for your client, as in the website that has already been downloaded. It's sitting on your client's website. You as a service developer, as an ASP.NET developer, as any kind of backend, you don't have access to that server, to that client anymore. Well, in SignalR, we can change that. And Google uses that, and stock markets use that, and other things use that to change the website. So back to you and all that. What do you think about what would be a good use of this sort of real-time technology?
So right now I'm in charge of something that monitors a bunch of IP equipment on the internet, and you know, we're always asking for data from it and then presenting it via a timer to the client using .NET remoting, which is long been deprecated. So I'm ready to get out of that and use Websockets or, you know, SignalR.
Perfect. So Websockets, if you guys haven't heard about it, thank you very much. That was excellent. Websockets is the technology I'd use. So you might say, well, what's the SignalR? Why am I presenting a Microsoft solution to an HTML5 existing technology? Well, it's because sockets are hard to do. Sockets in general are hard to do. WebSockets are even harder because you don't know that the device is disconnected, especially with one of these things. Don't laugh, it's a BlackBerry. What I'm trying to point out is one of these mobile phones. So when they disconnect because you go a little bit too far, because you're in between, because you get that no Wi-Fi or Li-Fi, which is like you think you have internet, but you don't really have internet, the system at that moment needs to figure out you've reconnected, you've re-established connection, and reconnect you. So SignalR solves a lot of the problems we normally had with WebSockets. Your implementation would be perfect for it. So we want to see the latest stock market. We want to see what's going on in here. And every single example of SignalR is this chat app. And I don't want to give you guys that. I don't want to sit here and live code this chat app because you guys can see a million YouTube videos, even much better professionally presented than we are here with that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a quiz app. So what I'm going to do is describe it. If you guys can picture it for 1 second. What I'm going to do is something where it's more than just a quiz app where you can see, hey, wouldn't it be nice to answer some questions and answer on the different computers. What I want to do is I want to do a quiz app that will appear, the answers will appear here from the server. They will be displayed at the exact same time with your help on your phones and your laptops. So hopefully you brought the laptops, and I'll show you different ways that you can follow along here. Now, I didn't prepare, but we'll be able to go to a website called, it's not ready yet, called demo.fla.net. I'll repeat it in a second, and then you guys will be able to see exactly what I'm doing here. Once you guys will see it, you'll see that as the answers appear here, they'll appear on your phones. So that sound interesting? Okay. So you guys can understand that if I do this for a quiz app, the technology you're going to be learning here, how I'm doing and answering any of your questions, we'll be able to answer your questions you have specifically for your product and your clients, and even picture new information that you can do. We're going to have 2 pages. We're going to make it as simple as possible because I have live coding. I tried live coding last night. I had a lot of coffee to drink in between, and it went to over an hour and a half. I'm not going to make you guys wait an hour and a half. I'll try to make it as short as possible. So we're going to have 2 pages. The first one will be the pages you will see up here. Once I code it, you guys will see the answers in here, and you guys will see the winners up here. And you guys will see them update live, both the answers and the winners. Now I'm going to have a button here on live, but if you guys can picture me hiding a button, an IFT, Internet of Things button here, and then having that communicate with that server, that would be the same thing. I'll do it sort of a cheating way by having it on the desk, on the page. But I'll show you guys that the code does not talk to the rest of the page. The button, even though it's in the page, will talk to a server, my laptop in this case, that will go back to the front page and update that, and update all your phones and laptops all at the same time. You guys will be able to answer it, and we will time your answers. And with WebSockets, we can do that. There's no worrying about the fact that you're on a Sprint network, and you're on a Verizon network, and you're on the Wi-Fi, and you're going to get faster, and you're going to be slower, whatever the case may be. This is pretty much as instant as the connection comes in there. And we'll talk a little bit about this. I'm sure we'll have some questions. So I've explained page number 2. By the way, I'm talking loud fast because I want to get you guys to what you guys are looking for and also to answer any questions you have. Live demo. I love that video. You're looking careful of his left hand. So if you guys want to follow along, if you guys want to code, or if you guys want to see this in the future, take a picture of this picture at the very bottom. I spelled it out phonetically. Obviously, now these spaces are on my website, github.com/thedamian/SignalR basic. My name is Damian. If you can remember, I'm the Damian in front of you guys. Go to github.com/SignalR. You'll be able to see the, I'm sorry, Damian, github.com/thedamian, and you'll see my Git repository, but more importantly, all the code I'll be using. So in fact, I'm going to be, whoa. Okay, I wanted to do it live. Apparently, I already did it live on this computer. So let's go ahead and close that down. So I had a space for the purpose of letting you be able to see it and not get confused by small of a words or Latin words. There is no spaces in the words the Damian. There is no spaces in SignalR basic. It's all together. It's just simply a way for you guys to read it carefully because each one of those are English languages. So I have a laptop here for which I'm going to be cheating from and copying some of the code in here. So if you guys want to, like I said, whoops. What I'll do is a couple of different things. So this is what it looks like up there. If you go to, again, to github.com/thedamian/SignalR, it's this kind of information. Let me zoom it out a little bit. You guys can see it. The reason why I zoomed it out isn't so that you guys can see it better. Quite the opposite. I want to show you, if you guys have never been, how are you guys with Git as a software repository? Do you feel comfortable with it? It's good and all that. So, okay. You guys have TFS knowledge? How's that? TFS? Okay. Well, the thing with Git is they have these essentially branches, and it does work like Git, like TFS, but we used to use, in my history, TFS more like you would branch and then come back and things like that. I'm using it more like different chapters. Nah, think of it like different books inside of a library and all that. So what I have here is the master. If we download that, and we'll do that in just a second. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to simply go over here, go to clone, go to copy. I'm going to go to my software repository here thank you. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and grab, you guys are welcome to grab some pizza as I'm talking, but I won't be able to doing it. Grab some pizza. Let's grab some pizza, guys. Give me something to drink in the middle of it. Yes, sir. Absolutely. You probably want the presentation, the GitHub page. Do you have any questions about GitHub? Do you have any questions about Git? Okay. What? Napkins or plates? I didn't bring inside here. Can you? Here we go. Hold on a second. Here, Dave. Here. This is the keys.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah, I know
bottom left. Let me get a drink. Yep. Thank you very much. And if you guys have GitHub repos, anything that's on GitHub? Yeah? Nothing on file. What do you use it for? What do you use GitHub for?
Some proof of concept, personal.
Excellent. Is this a showcase, a resume maybe?
No.
Or just for fun?
Yeah, just for fun.
Yeah. I always thought that it was like the thing you needed to have. You need to have a GitHub page. So I started making some things about it. It's a lot of fun. When your friends submit something on there or they show you something, you can go ahead and suggest some improvements or help them out with some documentation, something like that. If you've ever wanted to help or start, or if you get excited about being part of open source, what you can do is most of these platforms, what they need is documentation. So for example, you might go to my repo and say, you know what, Damian, here's how to do it. Here's what you said. Here's some links that you mentioned. Why don't you go ahead and do it? So there's oh, by the way, guys, on the very bottom of the of my meetup page, of the meetup page for this event, there is a a link to one of Microsoft's advocates that used to be here for South Florida called James Q. Quick. And he has a wonderful video 12-part series on how to do a quiz on solely HTML5. So you can start from the beginning, and you'll see that my quiz will be incredibly boring and incredibly simple. I'm just showcasing the technology, not my design skills, even though I'm a front-end developer at my work. But you guys can see much better design skills over there. All right. So hopefully that had enough for everybody else. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing you guys can if you haven't done so already. Click and clone this particular repo. So I clicked on that. Then I'm going to go into, I'm going to make a directory, go into A, git clone. Oh, let me just go with something like this. Desktop, pres. I'm going to git clone, and I'm going to do this, paste. Okay, hopefully it didn't blow anybody's mind, but now the code that was up there on GitHub is now on my computer. So if we go back, and if we look at that particular directory that we just had a second ago, desktop, pres. Okay, so I will go back to the command line here. So if you guys look, and if we were going to start, this is actually a chat system. So if I do .NET, I'm using .NET Core here in this presentation because that's the future. That's what you guys should be learning. If you haven't, this would work just perfectly fine in ASP.NET, any version down to 4.5, which is now, I think, in the order of almost 10 years old. So different technologies, different ways to do it. You'll see different things about it, but it's the same way. Watch. Run. Now I'm going to be doing something unusual. You don't have to do this last part. It'll become obvious a little bit later as to why I'm doing it. In fact, I will prepare for that. Give me 1 second. Oh my God, I cannot suggest. Whoops. That was a bad idea. Wow, that was unbelievably bad. I'll have to figure out how to take that from the recording. We're going to do a bit of a trick. You guys want to follow me along, and if you guys want to go to https://demo.fla.net. Oh my. Oh, okay. Let me just try this. So I'm sorry. Let me just get this ready for you guys. So it's a good thing the pizza was here, otherwise I would look like I don't know what I'm doing. Problem. So if you want to go one more time to HTTPS, I think it will redirect you, but don't take my word for it. FLA.net.com, which is FLA.net is of course the organization that we're at here, the group we're in there. Now it does take a long time and we'll have to play with it here. I tried it before in this location. For some bizarre reason, it does seem to every so often sort of time out. But we'll try to see what we can do in there. You guys can do this on your phone. You guys can do this on your laptops. You guys will be able to see what I'm seeing on my computer at the same time. If you're interested in how I'm doing it, although the computer will be doing it here, I'm not doing anything special. I'm not running this on that server. It is actually forwarding that information up to the server. That's what the line's required in there. And then you guys are seeing it up there. Again, it seems to take a long time, but once it connects on your computer, it will connect. And by a long time, I do mean seconds, maybe up to 30 seconds. Okay? If it doesn't work, we'll try a different way. If you guys think about it, I'm going to go to localhost. You can see that, here we go, our nice boring chat system. If you guys did get the page working on your computer, you will actually be able to do what I'm doing here, which is type in here and it says, hello, FLA.net. And I click a message. Now it looks like, of course, the button over there simply put the information below it. It did not. It actually sent it back to the server, happens to be my laptop here, and back up to the upstairs. You get 404. Did you put HTTPS? Yes, try HTTPS columns out there. Ah, even Tom's in part of the audience. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. So these guys, you can keep it that way. Don't close that browser. Again, make sure it's demo, D-E-M-O, FLA.net.com. So it's FLA.dotnet, the period C-O-M. Once you see this particular... Thank you. Thank you, Scott. See? All right. So if you guys can see that, that means that you'll be able to see it on your laptop as I build this. Now, what I've built for you guys is an incredibly boring chat system. And you guys can see it on the GitHub. But I have a little bit of a trick. That was incredibly boring. What can we do a bit better? Over here under the branches, and if you guys know how to do this yourselves, you can do this, we have 3 more branches. Master should actually be called sort of the chat system. This is the default, and it's true to the name, a basic SignalR project. The bottom, just below chapter, is the quiz final. This, if you'd like, will be you skipping ahead. You can even run it on your own computer by simply typing .NET space run on your computer if you have it. And it is what we'll end up doing. Now I'll make some changes as I realize I can do this a little bit more efficiently, but more or less what I'll end up doing at the very end of the presentation is having what we have in final. Now what I do have is quiz_start. If you are interested in following along, don't suggest it because you can see it up here and you can ask questions in the middle of my presentation. You can go to quiz_start and follow along. By the way, if you guys don't follow along, didn't bring your laptop and wish you would have, this video is being recorded. I'll give you guys the URL at the very end so you can see it and try it later on. Okay, so if I choose final, some things change and we get to where we're going in right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press the stop. I'm going to go git checkout was quiz_final. Whoops, start. Oop, now check. I always do that. Check out. Good. Now we've seen that things have changed on the background. Okay, so I'll go ahead and refresh. Let me give you the basics of what SignalR is and what you need to do it. There is an article at the very bottom of the meetup that will step you through everything you need to do to create that master page that I showed you guys. Everything you need to do on Visual Studio. I needed to figure out what to do because if you guys haven't noticed, I'm running this on an Ubuntu box. Of course, Microsoft, I'm not an advocate here, but it run on everything including Ubuntu. I have Visual Studio Code, I have .NET Core, and I have SignalR, and I have all the things you're looking at about it. Now, I happen to have this computer there for that. I happen to have a window computer next to me which has all the cheating codes in it, if I can get it running. But this is not something that either becomes, you don't need a Mac, you don't need a PC, you don't need a Ubuntu, you can do whatever you want. If it has a keyboard and a mouse, including a Chromebook shortly, it will run .NET Core, okay? So what we're gonna do is see the basic, can you guys see? It's a little bit, probably a little bit hard to see. Am I wrong? Can you guys see more or less what's going on in here? It's a little bit better there? All right, let's see if I can get that full screen. I don't know if I can get full screen. All right, the basics is 2. So there is a home control, and what you will see in the home control is some very, very basic information. I have 2 pages. So as far as .NET is concerned, this is not very exciting. There's 2 controllers, and the 2 controllers open up either the index page, which we will call the player. It's what you guys are seeing right now if you hit the page and you said hi, like Tom did. Or what you can do is you'll be able to go to, and we'll open it up here. You'll be able to go to localhost or the other one in here, and just bear with me here and let me only go there and go to the stage page. And you'll see why in a minute, but the stage, in a when it click run, will run this, okay? So, I will go .NET run, watch, whoops. So normally .NET watch run, so if you guys don't know, .NET watch, you guys all know what .NET watch does? Okay, so .NET Run just runs whatever the code is. Actually, will download any NuGet that it needs to. I don't know if it does unpack, which is kind of the new NuGet, but it does the NuGet, gets everything, does the .NET restore, and then runs it on a web page. It happens to choose HTTPS localhost 5001. For my purposes, I needed to sort of force it to do something, so that's why the extra parameter you might have seen before. But essentially, in your box, it'll run on port 5001 under a secure port, so HTTPS. The reason why it's secure is because SignalR kind of needs secure. A lot of things that do something very fancy in HTML5 always need to do through a secure channel. So we have running an instance of our code. My goodness. And as I showed you guys, I will see if I can get this. Oh my God, what's going on here? This is going to get boring if I don't change this right here. So bear with me, gentlemen. What happened? Yes, that makes sense. I've set it to 1 hour, so it's timing up after 5 seconds. That makes about sense. All right, looks like I won't be able to change that. All right, so over here, there's nothing special, and we're not going to change anything. We're going to have an index page and a stage page. So nothing fancy about it, as we talked about in the presentation. One of the things that we have about NVC is, I'm sorry, about GitHub. This is a little bit too big, so let me see if I can shrink this a little bit. Can I see this full screen? I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, so you guys will take my word for it. Oh, there's a horrible resolution. That's why we're doing things this way, but too late to change that now. I've gone ahead and sort of prepared the stack, if you will. I have a particular object that contains all the questions that we're going to be asking of the players, you guys. Now again, don't worry about it. You will see the answers, so it kind of be obvious also the answers. We're just simply showcasing the information. So what we do have there is we have the concept of a hub, and we'll look at that in just a minute. So the only thing that makes this a SignalR application is a couple of lines we'll look at in the startup.cs or the global.sax for the classic ASP.NET, and specifying where this hub is. And this hub is the central location, the communications hub, if you will, for anything coming in and out from the clients and from the servers and things like that. So SignalR works wonderfully and really shows off its technology when you're thinking about HTML5 client to HTML5 client, which will be showing off, but there are clients for everything. So if you do have, for example, a Java backend that needs to communicate with this and communicate instantly, you can. And there's all sorts of, it can be another server, it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know what I mean? The database can say, whenever there's an update to the table, run this particular method. The method can go and communicate using SignalR to this and then out to the HTML5 clients and all that. Now, you might be able to use sockets and things like that, but just something to put in your mind. So again, there's nothing special about this hub. It's just simply a class. So what makes this a .NET, other than we've included the SignalR project in here, is that line here that we're using. All right. So the line here that we're using in the configure servers in the .NET Core project and SignalR. That's it. Now we have all the infrastructure ready, but we haven't told it where this hub page that we're talking about is. So we do it sort of down here inside the config, the configure. So use SignalR, and we've defined a directory here. And the directory has also been defined as the location of the file we saw a second ago. No, nobody got lost with that. Everybody kind of, I mean, you know, it's just bootstrapping information here. You guys saw this, I just realized if you guys were in the Boca.js, the Microsoft, one of the Microsoft advocates, Cecil Phillips, went ahead and presented this, and he had a much sophisticated, much more elaborate version of it. I'm going to do something basic because I'm doing live coding. All right, so you guys can see that there's nothing inside the views. There's 2 pages. And I'm going to open them up, and there's nothing there. So if you guys were to go right now to the front page, it's pretty much a front page of both, right? And I'm just reminding you, again, the spaces are simply for you to be able to read, that if you want to go ahead and follow along, it's demo.fla.net.com, dotnet.com. All right. So let's go ahead and put some technology in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the hub, and I'm going to go ahead and build some of the technology in there. Now, the reason why I'm starting here is because this is the easiest part of the whole system. Now, what we do here and what makes it super easy is that think of it like commands on one side of this HTML server technology calling methods on the other one. So this one says invoke method Damian. And over here, I go public void Damian, and it's going to be called by the magic of SignalR. So this is what's amazing about it. You simply call a method, and it's going to be there. On the JavaScript side, you have to say on, similar to that you have to say on click to an event that happens on JavaScript. It's just following the JavaScript nomenclature. So let's go ahead and create two things about it. What I'm going to do is the technology that needs to pass through the servers to the other one is the button that happens to be on the stage, or perhaps on this IoT button that I press here, if you can imagine it, saying, hey, we're ready for the next question, bring it on. And then, so that's what that's going to be called. We're going to be, it looks similar to all the other controllers in here. So we're going to go task, we're going to call it next question. So this is going to be something that with just simply me saving it, and at the very bottom you'll see that it recompiles because of the .NET watch, and it's ready out there, is now callable. I can now, on my JavaScript, call it, and it won't error out. It won't say, I don't know what you mean. It will actually call this. Not a lot of use because there's nothing on there. So let's go ahead and put something in here. Let's go ahead. I'm not sure why it's putting the int underneath it, but I guess it just needed something. I've already designed this. Again, this is something, you know, everybody kind of sees this. The reason why it's giving the red line is because it returns, it expects something. It expects something to be awaited because we have an async task in here. So what we're going to do here is inside this method, we're going to do the following. This is the way you communicate to all the clients. Now, this is the way you communicate to all clients dot all dot send a sync new question. I'm simply receiving this information, and I'm going to be sending to all the particular the people that are calling this particular call right here. Okay? So, okay. So the clients is an object that we have in here. We're going to figure out, we're going to call the array that we have above it, if you guys can see in here. Again, it's just an array. That I have in my model here. The quiz has a question, an array of answers in a matter of strings, and the index, which represents the answer. So the 0th, you know, the first will be the 0th index, and that's how I've defined it. So what we do is we're going to put this information in here. We're going to send everybody the particular index that they're asking for. In this case, only the front end will, the stage will call it, and we're done. So at this moment, we'll turn it down a little bit if it keeps on continuing like that. All right, so at this moment, I should be able to save that and see what's going on and see that we don't have any answers. We know what this is here. Why is this having a problem? It does not exist. I'm sorry? Say it one more time. This is, what's it called? Mob mentality programming instead of pair programming. So we have some errors, but we shouldn't be getting any errors. I'll continue on and see if I can figure this out over here. I'm definitely inside the variables, outside the brackets. So I should have several things in here. So we have a club, we have an async. This one's over here. Yeah, we should be fine. I must have gotten rid of a tab. So let me see what's going on in here. Yeah, I'm simply missing a class in here. We have the namespace. This is the end of the class. End of class. End of namespace. Absolutely, my friends. Thank you, my friends. So this is the way we do things, and we'll figure out what's going on soon enough. Okay. So if this guy didn't like it, and there's not a definition for it, really, I bet you it does. And I was right. So what we're doing here is we're going to be getting a particular question being asked by the stage. I'm question number 1, and I'm going to send it out to all. I'm going to display it when it comes back. I'm going to send it out to all you guys, the clients in here, the players, if you will. The next technology, and does anybody see a problem with that? We will get number 1, we'll get number 2, we'll get number 3, we'll get number 4, we'll get number 5, we'll get number 6, we'll get number 10 of 4 questions. Well, we better check that, right? So we're going to check. So if we're going to allow this, if the index is less than the quiz answers dot length. So we've gotten enough. If not, what we can do is we can return something to the client. We can return something that we're happy with. And one of the things about JavaScript is we do have this sort of, there is no type checking, so I can do something like this, new object. So what I'm doing in this situation, if you guys can see it, I'm going to get the questions out of the way. So what we have here is a way, let me get rid of this over here, that we have, if we have the length correct, if we have the length correct, if we haven't gone past the index point at which there is no more questions, then we will return the question at hand. If we haven't, then we return a blank object. In JavaScript, it doesn't really understand, there's no type scripting. So we will not create a model there as we would normally in TypeScript. So what we can simply do is say, does it have a particular property that I'm expecting from the model quiz answers? If it doesn't have, for example, the questions, then I know that we've gotten to the end, and we can make a decision saying, everybody, hey, that's the end. There's no more information that we have to get, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do another communication, but it's copy it, right? The next question will be the new answer. This is essentially your vote. When you guys vote, I'm going to pass to this information a string with the player's name, and I'm going to give it your answer, player's answer. This information I'm simply going to pass to the server. All this will start making sense, and we'll go over it at the very end, so don't worry too much about it if you're like, what's going on here? Clients.all, let me just simply copy this information here, as that's what I think I did. That's the beauty of live coding, right? All right. So this is the end of this question, this method. This is so much easier when I can actually see the screen. At this moment, I can't. Too much. No. I can see the screen. I didn't mean to correct you. I'm simply having a hard time because we have to zoom in a little bit too much. To sort of do that, oh my God, it's tiny over there. So what are we returning? We're going to be, whenever we get this information, we're going to call it back, and we're going to pass the same information. Okay? And then we're going to pass it to the JavaScript that's going to be doing something. In this case, this is going to be going essentially from the player's answer. So if I can sort of go back and describe what I'm doing, whenever there's a button, you're going to see a button in the, I might skip ahead and jump into that. There's going to be a button in the player, in the stage. When I press the button, I'm going to call next question. The stage will update the list of questions and start a timer. You guys on your phones will see a list of answers with an answer button. When you click on that answer, that information will be communicated back to the stage, and the stage will make a decision of what's going on here. I've chosen not to worry about static variables or databases where you might want to solve it in the server. That would be ideal. You shouldn't ever have the stage have all the intelligence, but that's what we're going to do here for the purpose of computing. So we're done. Amazingly enough, all the C# code is done. And this was a C# developer conference, right? Or speaking thing. But there's more to it than that. we're going to look at the stage in here. Now the stage has a couple of information about it. And it's pretty much the same thing as we have in the client. What I'll do here is there's a couple of things I want to show. I want to show, this is going to be where the answer goes, the question goes, pardon me. So what question, I'm going to be cheating. Essentially, all the questions are capitals of countries. So I'm going to simply, I know that I can start the information here, capital of, and then, whoop, and then we'll do a span. And you'll see what I'm doing here. Again, remember that I'm sort of working on this over 3 days, and you'll see what's going on here. We have the question over here. And as you can see, we're going to be updating this with a question. We're going to act the same way. We're going to do this with the answers. Answers. This is similar to what we're going to be doing on, so no idea, right? Question of the world. You'll see what I'm doing here. And then we're going to see and show the winners. And over here, we'll show the fact that there'll be answers. So this, to me, and a lot of people are seeing this, is like, you know, the matrix. I see here, the moment I type, I already see the pages going on here. If you don't, you'll see them a little bit later. Answers. Okay? I've bootstrapped the fact that Stage already knows to look at the Stage.js variable, JavaScript version. But as far as the HTML here, it's done. So if we look at it carefully, all that we did, and we'll look at it together carefully by saying, you know what, this is the same thing on the front end and on the player. By doing that, as I wait for the very bottom to restart here, what's going on here? Let's see if we have an error. We do have an error in the C# code, my friend. So let's see, we have, all right. So if we have too many errors, what we'll do is we'll get to the code and we'll get to what's going on in here. Get too close to 8 o'clock. All right, type name definition, end of file expected. Thank you, my friend. Oh, yeah, if you want to help me with this, absolutely. We have way too many brackets here. It's what's going on in here. This is the end of this. So we'll open this back up. All right. And as you can see from the .NET watch run, .NET space watch space run, all the code as I saved it instantly recompiled, instantly reproduced the server, and instantly had us on there. So you're going over there, which some of you guys already are, you will see that it has essentially the basics of what we're going to see in the web page and the basics of what you're going to see in the backend. And at this moment, it's exactly the same. It's going to be the question, in this case, what's the capital of the world, the answers, hey, no answers right now. I think we're supposed to put that in there, no idea, and then the list of winners, okay? And nothing special about that, okay? So we have now the C# code done, the HTML done, so what we have left is the JavaScript. So let's get to that. We've already defined where the JavaScript's going to go, so it's going on the www root. Let's go to the stage first. Okay. So over here on the www root, come on over here. So we have the basics of a, oh, I shouldn't have done that. We have the basics of a JS page. So remember, we had to initially bootstrap or set up the SignalR on the C# to tell it where to look for. We also have to do the same thing on the JavaScript. It's not simply going to figure out where the servers are and what it's waiting for. This is the code that's a bootstrapping of that. You'll see the exact same code on all 3 ones of the versions that are out there. And you'll see this on every single one. If you look at it carefully, it's going to be a little bit hard to read. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. We have essentially a connection. That's going to be the variable we're going to be using up. The location, which happens to match the location on the server side. The directory chat hub is not defined by anybody. You can have called it, you know, FLA.NET hub or whatever we'd like to do it. That happens to be the one that it is. And as you can see, this is a quiz, not a chat. And this is the one that's we're happening. We have now a method in here that's going to be saying, okay, we're ready, okay? And we can do something with the player side by saying, you know what? Because that this connection I realized was a little bit slow, I'm going to go do an alert here. You're playing. So if you guys now go to the front page of demos and refresh that page, once it gets ready to load, again, it seems to take a while, it'll say we're playing here. So because of the fact that this connection is a little bit flaky, here, what we're going to do is you're not going to see that until a little bit later, okay? But you'll take my word for it. I will have several windows open if that's the case. As you can see, it's still loading, but it's okay because the customer can see what's going on in here. This is not something, this is something to do with the fact that I'm routing my traffic not only to my browser, but also up to the server through all these networks and out to a particular server. That's this $5 server I purchased for this presentation. Okay, that's the only reason why. SignalR, as you can see, is super fast and doesn't have these issues. Okay, so we've decided that we're ready to do the stage. What the stage is going to be doing is a couple of different things. I'm going to keep track of things, again, on the stage only for the purpose of this demo. So I'm going to keep track of the question index. This is simply what question am I on. I'm going to keep track of the right answer. There was the demo returning and saying it's ready. Right answer. You'll see why in a second. We're going to keep track of the timer, essentially. Question, time, start. It doesn't really matter what I spell it, as long as I spell it something relevant. Good. And even though the object is it is technically the number of seconds, well, milliseconds since the beginning of time, which according to Unix is 1971, I believe it is, right? Or 1969, perhaps. And we're going to get a list of the players. You can correct me if that's the case. Again, these are things that we would normally not keep on a JavaScript side unless we're in control of the JavaScript. In this case, we are. So, one of the things, I forgot one thing about the stage here. We have one more thing in the stage, which is a button. This button is going to be the only difference in here. And the button is similar to the button, something we're going to be doing on the client side. I forgot something else on the client side as well. So the button, just make sure I got covered everything here, is a button that says on click, just simply call next question button. Let's do that. Okay? So we're cheating here. Next question. We're not going to even listen for this. We're just simply going to call a function called next button. When it gets clicked, we will do the method of doing all the particular work when doing that. On the client side, we also forgot one more. I forgot one more, which is input ID equals, what do we call it? Just to make sure I have the right information. Your name. And you'll see why in a minute. Place, holder, unique name. Okay? So you guys will see, I keep on forgetting to close this here, but you guys will see that the difference between these two, essentially what used to be exactly the same page, is that the client, or the player, will have your name. You'll see why in a second. It's one way for me to cheat a little bit. And the stage will have a button which I will press and will say next question. That's how I will initiate the next question. Okay, let's get back to the code here. So we're here in the stage, and we're going to be coding a couple of different things. We have we know when the start of this question starts, but we'll have to do that. So let's look at the code to figure out that something has been connected to. Something has let us know, hey, something happened. So on SignalR, we don't have to connect that button to this method that's going to be sending you information. We just simply have to listen to the words next question. Because remember on the hub, there was a next question. We said whenever this particular method gets called, and we'll look at how do we call it, simply send to all the users this particular next question. So let's go ahead and do that. On the stage, we're going to say on. Again, the connection string, that's a signal car on the left-hand side, on, and then we're going to go and make our method. Function, question, object, and then we'll close that. Okay? So at this moment, it should have been fine. Obviously something always happens here. We try function. Perfect. So this is our way on JavaScript to listen to an event that's going to happen from the server. Now this event may happen from other JavaScript. It may be something that the server decides, hey, everybody, you should do this. On this case, it's going to be from Mar button, but we'll see that in a minute. When it comes in here and we're going to find out that there's going to be an answer, we're going to do something. If we remember, what we did is we said sometimes if we're at the end of the questionnaires, we don't send the fact that there's a question. We send a blank object. So in JavaScript, we can just let me do that, copy. We can go and check if there's a question. The object on the model, if you guys remember, had a question, an answer, and the right answer. And we'll look at those in just a second. So I'm going to say, you know what? If I have a question, then I know it's time for the questions. I'm going to grab those questions. I'm going to update the question on the page. And remember, this is only a stage logic. So that's all that we defined if we had the last object. So let's go ahead and what we're going to do is going to go document. Whoa. Next to jump everywhere. Document get element by ID. Question equals inner HTML. It's exciting to watch me code, isn't it? It's exciting. So imagine how your bosses feel when they're waiting for you to fix something. The world, you'll see why in a minute. Whoops. And then document dot get element by ID. Answers. Oh my gosh. Thank you, my friend. Answers. In our HTML. End of game. Game end. So we can actually go live with this and see that on the stage, I'm going to be refreshing the page. Now it's got that code in here. If we look at the connection string, you will see on the very bottom that there's a connection happening here. So in the stage, we don't really have that sort of, hey, ready to play little pop-up that we had, sir. So I have to check in here. This is something you should be aware of. If there's something that looks like a little bit abyss or a miss that you're looking for, make sure you had your connection in here. So what you can do here is, even though nothing's going to happen here, I'm going to go ahead and each time I click on the button, I'm going to get a new thing. And I just realized something. Nothing's listening to that button. So let's fix that. Actually, that's not. I wanted to show you guys that if I clicked enough times, it would get end of game. But instead of jumping me to there to keep with our object and our thought, we're going to figure out that there's going to be two things that are going to happen. If we do have the question, we're going to simply put it up there. So if we do have the question, it's easy peasy, go and put it up there. Now, if we do have if the question has an answer, if the question object has a question, then it has an answer. And we're going to go through the answers here. I want you to note something very important here. So my model, on purpose, actually not on purpose, I realized it a little bit late. The words answer is in capital letters. You guys all see that there. It's answers with the capital letters. It's correct answer index in capital letter, title case, right? First word of every unjoined word is title. SignalR was famous for doing that. It's still kind of famous for that. It switches, on JavaScript side, everything to camel case. First letter is always lowercase. I don't know why. I haven't even looked into why. It is not a limitation of JavaScript. It can do a title case where every single first letter is capitalist, but whatever the case may be. So if you notice, this is the object representation that I'm using. So as you can see, I'm going to get a string for the question. I'm going to get an array of strings for the answer. I'm going to get a correct answer index that's equal to the right answer for the particular question that we're looking at. So even though the word answer is in capitals, capital A, I will have to do it in lowercase. But notice that the correct answer index will have sort of, camel case, and the letters A in answer and I in the index will be capital, but the first one will not. I know, exciting. So if we're in the answers, so what we're going to do is we're going to simply through them, essentially loop through them, and you guys all love your lambda, so let's go ahead and do a little lambda. Anyone want to help my English here? It's lambda expressions. So we have an object here. So what we're going to do is easy peasy. We're going to be grabbing a bit of a trick. Mary had a little lamb, is that the trick? And we're going to be, each time that we have an answer, we're going to be adding it plus equals to the actual list of questions. Now this is HTML5 and everybody gets caught with this. In console, you just add a line, add a line, add a line, add a line, it's fine. But in HTML, we need a little bit of BRs to separate these answers. So I'm going to add a line. The A represents the string in that particular array, and I'm going to go and BR it here. Okay? So if you look at it here, there's nothing more than that. And just because so we don't go back, I'll show you guys that it's already working. We're going to go ahead and say question time start, and we're going to set the timer at this moment. Okay? And then we're going to set the right answer to the question object. And the answer is correct answer index. Okay? So what we now have is on our stage, and I'm going to go ahead and click on save, and I don't have to wait for it to refresh. I can just simply refresh, and as I click on the next answers, we're going to get an error. Again, I forgot, the button's not connected, but the code is ready. Let's connect that button. We looked at the button. Oh my. All right, so did I lose my, yes I did. On the volume of this a little bit. All right. You guys, what? Apparently I lost myself completely. So you'll have to sort of hear me over the voice. So we have our code. It's ready for the information as the new questions come in. It's ready. Our button isn't connected, so let's connect it. We've cheated, so we've essentially said we normally would have an ID on JavaScript. We will listen to that ID, but we'll do this the easy way. Click will let us simply call a particular method. The method doesn't understand anything about it, doesn't need to understand anything about it because we have the index of which question it is. Hello, hello? I guess it's really, really low. Hello, hello? Okay. Can you guys hear me okay so far? Still? All right, I'll speak a little louder. It's probably better on my throat than trying to whisper. So when the button gets clicked, all we have to do is a connection. Now remember, it was on for listening. It's invoke to communicate. And it returns a promise, but we don't really have to do anything about it. Next question. And all it's going to be doing, and in this particular case, we want to pass something to it. What are we passing? The index of what we're at. That's it. If that's all we need to do, we will be able to do that. Now, because of race conditions, we shouldn't be doing this. Question, index, plus, plus. Because it will happen before the actual communication happens. Now, I will never be able to click fast enough for that to throw it off. But the true way of doing this is you should be able to communicate with the server and then expect something. And if the server needs to communicate back to you, it can, using the then. Right, as a good JavaScript developer. And then we'll put a function in here. We're not expecting anything back, so we'll just simply do. You can also do error and catch so that you'll be able to sort of figure out whether the communication failed. Because there is a chance that this communication failed. And you can tell that to the customer. Hey, sorry, we were unable to communicate with the server. SignalR is this wonderful thing, but it was unable to communicate back to the server. Let me just, pardon me guys, let me just confirm that we are still being recorded. We are. Sorry about that. Ego and all that. So, we're done. If we go ahead not from the presentation. Just bear with us here. I'll try to be as quick as possible. Maybe I'll skip ahead a couple of things. But if we go ahead and click on the next question, as you can see, nothing's happened. Let's see if we can refresh it one more time. All right, why is not anything happening? So we're invoking this particular question. It's communicating with this particular answer. This is the method that's going to be questioning. It's expecting a task. Let's go and debug. What is it that you print? Print? No, that's not it. Can you guys help me with that? What is it that you debug in C# with? That's right. It's right. Yes. Person in the back that isn't here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and compile it. There is the code. It seems to have started, and we're back. Okay, it started again. So as we refresh the page, I'm going to click on the next button, and I'm going to see that nothing's happening on this end. Perhaps it's restarting. All right. We're going to do the following. It's 8 o'clock. I want you guys to be able to enjoy yourself, so I'm going to sort of skip and load the solution as it is fixed, as it is done, completed. You guys mind that? And we'll walk through it so you guys can get to the questions. So let's go ahead and open the folder where I have everything done already. Desktop, code, quiz. All right. Now this time, when I do .NET Watch, okay, and we refresh the page, it won't work. Just took a little bit of time to boot up. And you'll see here, as I put in there, that if you guys, holy smokes, you guys go ahead and try this on your own computers, you should be able to go to demo. You guys follow me along and let me know if you guys can see that. What you'll be able to see is something like this. It'll be a demo page, it'll say capital of the world, and it'll say unique name. Now do me a favor, put something unique. It can be something silly. Do not put Tony or John, as long as there are no other Johns around us. Let me put the volume back on. Well, the noise went away. So we'll look at the code, but I wanted you guys to first see it and all that. Everybody kind of sees something on their screen. Are you guys able to load something up on demo.fladotnet.com? It's a little slow? Okay. Just press enter. Now what you will see is what you see on the right-hand side. Essentially it says capital of the world. I see people connecting over here. And what it'll do is you want to put a unique name here. Okay. And the reason why, we'll see in just a minute. But once you guys, everybody see at least the page with the input box, anybody see that? You do that. Perfect, wonderful. So we're going to showcase the technology here. I'm going to go ahead and press next question. You will see that on your page, now perhaps it should have put it everywhere, you will see the questions. Let me just get rid of this guy here and shrink this a little bit. You will see perfect, nice, with a GUID, fancy. Oh my. Is it stalling on you, you said? I apologize, I did not understand what you were saying. So, as I click on, thank you, and as you can see, as you vote, we're going to go in there. We'll look at the code. It's nothing fancy about it, but I want you guys to sort of see the basics about it. I won't go through much the detail as what I did to make this work. I'll go more the basics and the more obvious things. And all that. And we kind of did that by how to communicate to the server, back from the server, and how to listen to certain things in there. So, wonderful. So you guys have done that, and you guys can see that. Do me a favor, hold it up, the phone or the laptop, so you can see both my screen or the other one, or just listen to me go, hey! And then you could see that on your page, it should have updated. Let me know if that sounded right, or if it's just updated now. It should be fairly instantly. Now again, the reason why it isn't, if it is that this server on the back end, as you can see, sometimes sort of fails to send it out. That's the fail function, so sometimes that's what's timing it out. Instantly on my page though, it is working and you can see the different scores. And as you can see also, as I'm going to go to my next question, you guys will be able to see that as I press the next questions, yes, the questions answer change over there, but over here, your answers live update. Okay? So you guys have seen that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Go ahead and I'm going to get ready with the next question. By the way, the answer is Panama City. Unlike all the other cities, that's the one that's the answer. Go ahead and answer it. And you can see up there, the score has actually changed live. Okay? Let's look at the code a little bit about it. Questions, but I'm going to go just a recap of what's going on here. So thank you guys for the patience with that. Again, there was some changes I did to the startup, some very basic changes. Under configuration, configure services, I said add SignalR as seen, add NVC, add authentication, add course, limitations, and then there was some definition of where my, oops, not this page, the SignalR use here, and where the chat hub was going to be, both where the method is, where the class that's going to have some details about it, and where the chat in there is. You now saw that there was on the hubs directory, again, just happens to be a directory there. There's nothing special about the words hubs. It's simply the fact that, of course, .NET looks at all the files, picks up that. It's the right namespace that matches the one on the startup. So it simply loads it and puts some information in there. And these methods, if you look at them carefully, are what you invoked in JavaScript. Let's look at that code in JavaScript, the basics of that, the players one. Here we did the on question. We're listening to the broadcast to everybody, or in this case, even to us alone, because you can broadcast to everybody or to one. And this information is listened to, and whatever you pass to it, whether it's one parameter, two parameters, an object, a string, an integer, some basic things that JavaScript can understand. Object is one of those things. It will simply utilize it. That's what's being passed over there. And then when it needs to communicate back to the server, and maybe even back to the other ones, it says the words invoke. Again, it passes the parameters that the C# needs. So that's the JavaScript talking to the C# directly, instantly, without a single page, with no fetch, no AJAX, and more importantly in all of none of the HTTP headers that prevent that instant access. These servers are connected live. That means that if we go to the actual website and we do the F12 and connection string, well, first of all, it says that we're connected. You would see, I'm not sure if it shows in the network, not really designed for this type of things, this networking tab, but there is an actual connection. If you were to open up, as I've done several times, the Wireshark, and see what's going on, you would see traffic not only being opened, a socket being opened, but a socket being maintained and stuck. Here's the other thing. No setting up whatsoever. If you only have port 80 or 443, hopefully, on your web server, that is all you need. SignalR is not coming out of anything else. It's utilizing IIS, and IIS is through the same port that it's allowed to show the website. It's connecting to WebSockets and leaving those connections there. And they're live. That means that the second something happens on the JavaScript, it happens on the server. Even faster than if you were to hit and do an HTTP request. Because HTTP request has a lot of back and forth and ACKs and different things. This is instant. One request, one reply. Microsoft even says JSON's too slow for it. So they've built another version of a communications protocol similar to JSON. Remember, XML was this, and JSON we got this, and now they've built it even faster. This is being used by the biggest games out there. It is what powers Fortnite. It is what powers everything in the internet. It is what Azure will let you, Microsoft will let you utilize this software and pay by the millions of connections. That's how much they expect you to use. So if you say you're Delta, you like my presentation, you're going to implement it. Once you've implemented it, oh my God, that server's going to be killed. No problem. Azure will take care of it. And it will charge you in the millions of per every million requests. That's how much they expect, and it's pennies for that. It's always pennies for everything, but they add up, right? Thank you, gentlemen. That's about it. Do you have any questions? Scott, do you have the microphone? Or did I give it back to you? Okay.
Yeah, you got it back.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions? It's a lot to digest. Say that one more time. Yes. Yes, it is. Exactly right. Message box. Yes. So, let's go to that. So if you guys can do me a favor, so I'll turn this off here. If you liked what I said, if you enjoyed my presentation, do me a favor, go to videos.bokehjs.org, not .com. Oops. And it's my YouTube channel, or just simply look for Bokehjs on YouTube. Even if you don't follow my beautiful, amazing videos such as this one, and all the ones that the FlaDotnet has, including infamous ones, then I would appreciate simply a follow. That lets me hit to 100, and so you can simply ask YouTube to give me bokehjs.youtube.com. So a personal favor to me to thank me for this presentation would be to do that. If you want to, we'll go and raffle off one of the tickets in just a minute, but one more time. Do you guys have any questions about SignalR? Okay, let's start with.
Two questions. One is, you kind of alluded to the fact that it could talk to SQL or the other way around. And the other question is, does the server have to be running ASP.NET, or can it be running a Windows executable, a Windows?
Great question. You keep it, because you have another gentleman over here who wants some questions. I'll put my volume back up. So the question was, does it need to run on ASP.NET? First of all, SignalR, two answers. SignalR is not only in .NET. But SignalR and the benefits of the SignalR are best expressed or utilized in .NET. So they have Java clients, they have Node clients, they have Python clients, no, not Python, oh my God, Ruby clients. So they have that. So you can utilize that in all that technologies. But for that, there are other technologies like Socket.io, so which does a similar job, has a little bit more, not that Microsoft doesn't support it. Microsoft supports all these things equally, but it has a little bit more history with other languages and all that. So for example, go ahead.
So Windows, a .NET Windows executable.
Yes.
Built in C# and .NET.
Yes.
That is not ASP.NET. It's just C#.
Well, yeah, you have a good point, right? I mean, these things could sit on a web server. .NET Core allows it to be on different. It doesn't have to be on Windows. That's what I mean. So this could be on a Mac. This could be on an Ubuntu server, as it is right here. It is running on an Ubuntu server. It could be on Windows. But SignalR it was designed to solve a problem of how do you do WebSockets easily. WebSockets is the true technology. So how do you do the WebSocket easy technology? Use SignalR if you're a .NET or .NET Core shop. If you're not, they have solutions, but they're kind of like, they're great solutions, but you can, it's more if you need it. Right? If you're like, oh my God, we moved our Windows server, we have all these clients all over the world still using SignalR, we're going to now move to an Ubuntu server for whatever reason. Well, first of all, you can run .NET Core on the Ubuntu server, but if you're like, no, we want to move it also to a Python server, no problem. There is a SignalR implementation for Python, but there are also other implementations for WebSockets, for all languages out there. And so that's it. SignalR brings a lot to the table, but it was designed to give an easy solution for the .NET crowd.
And SQL?
Okay, so there isn't, it's not automatic. So you would have to do some kind of trigger, some kind of job, SQL Server job, that then does something. You can talk to that gentleman over there. He did it at our job. And it can now call C#. SQL can call C#. And so it can then initiate a connection to the SignalR server and start something. And you can have that running live and all that, and Darius can answer much better how many things you can do so that there's no bootstrapping, there's no, what's it called when needs to compile and do it. Yeah, so see, whenever I ask a simple question, you give me these amazing advanced answers and all that. No, I'm talking about the fact that like the program's dead, and then I have to start the program and then communicate and all that. Yeah, is there something that can keep it running? Like see, that's a magic man right there. So if I don't know the answer, I go to him and all that. I go to him at work, and I go to, when you know, we can afford him anymore. No, but it's amazing. It's amazing. Listen, you should come work for us. Stop this consulting thing. Come work for us. All right. Go ahead.
Two different questions.
Yes.
Two different questions. One may brush on what you're asking. Is HTTPS the only protocol that you can use? Or just that because for practical purposes, you know, SignalR works good with HTTPS?
The technology is sockets. Okay. Sockets have nothing to do with HTTPS. There is this is a solution to how you get HTTPS clients
stay connected.
Socket capabilities. So it's called Websockets.
Right.
So it goes through firewalls. It goes through your IIS. Okay. You don't have to set up something separate. You could do, if you're just two servers connecting together, you can simply, there's a million other solutions that are utilizing sockets, always listening connections. Right. You could have them, you know, with IoT, listening to a light on the other end. You could do a laser, you can do a micro, you know, essentially a connection to the other end. This is simply a solution to that issue. How do you get either mobile devices, web devices, otherwise instantly connected back to the server, which they normally initiate a page handed to you that's beautiful and then say, you don't exist for me anymore. This is a way to get back. And the server going, hey, I need your attention again. Oh, and the client goes, yes, what do you need? Here, there's some text from the other client that's talking to you. That's why that is.
Authentication.
Yes. Zero. So there's zero authentication. In fact, there's not even header authentication. So as was expected, you have an answer for that?
You're using the HTTPS to establish the authentication in the headers, and once that's there, it's open, we know about you, and then the sockets are free to run.
That's right. Now, you're not, you can't be guaranteed that the socket was opened by an HTTP request that has been authenticated.
Correct. Yeah,
right.
HTTPS only establishes a one-to-one encrypted communication.
Now it is encrypted. It is encrypted by the same HTTPS and SSL certificate.
But it doesn't, up to that point, doesn't care who I am. It's on the other side.
Yes.
Say, it's Jose and it's no Robert.
Yeah, and technically, like what you said, and you're partially right, the HTTP initial request, if it wasn't authenticated, will not get through. But once it gets through, a man-in-the-middle attack could initiate a new connection. Remember, the web server doesn't care that you're authenticated, only cares that your certificate client meets its certificate server.
Correct.
So your next connection could go and say, oh yeah, I'm him. And you establish that WebSocket connection, and there is no authentication there, not even header. So if you look at I don't think there's a header object that's part of the connection on the C# end, but it has no authentication. So even though it's encrypted, it does need for you to sort of authenticate who you are, not that you're secure.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, secure happens without
separately authentication. Right.
That's the S part of the HTTPS.
That's right.
But if I need authentication,
yes,
I have to establish that on the server side.
You have to make sure that each request on either end is authenticated. You don't need to encrypt it. Just simply put, it is encrypted, so simply put the user ID. You could even fake it kind of, but you don't want to. Put something that's you know, where the server initiated some request so that you know that it's replied back to it, right? Exactly. So on the JavaScript, you can do that. There's no, unless there's some script running on the script, it doesn't matter, there's a man in the middle listening to you guys. The encryption, they won't be able to read it. They'll be able to fake it, but they won't be able to read that it's yours in each direction.
Okay. Now, the hub, is that a third party?
No. So it's you. It's you.
Is in my server side.
In this example, there was, right? There was the stage, and you guys were the players.
Right.
So there was this computer up here, and you was the player. And then technically in the back end was technically all my computer. Let's think about it. It was on a, let's magically think it's a server out there.
Yeah.
So, but you're in control of it, right? You initiated that connection. You don't need to hire a web service that does it. You don't need to buy the service from Azure if you don't want to. You don't need a third party to do this for you.
I can use my IIS server.
Yes, perfectly fine. But you're like, that's fine until I got to the 100th millionth user because I have this Bitcoin thing. And now what you need is you can offload all that interconnections to Azure.
As a proxy or something.
And that would be one of the options in there. Right. So you could do that. You could say, we establish connections. Here's the key I want you to use for authentication from now on. You keep it on your JavaScript, on your client's end. You're going to be communicating with me, but we're all communicating through this third-party server. And the server can actually go and say, I'm now a client, and I'm going to connect to that server, that third party, if you need to.
It's a proxy, basically.
Absolutely, if you want to, but it could be perfectly fine. Oh, there was did you have a question before you go? Yeah.
They added JSON Web Tokens as a method of authentication. When you set up the hub, you can actually specify.
Perfect. We'll have to look. You have to look at that up. Absolutely. I didn't know that there was such a thing, but that still means that you're interchanging the keys at the beginning, and then you're passing it through each one of the
use a
requests.
bearer token, and I think that there's also a method for using cookies, but I think the JSON Web Tokens have been added recently.
Thank you. Sounds perfect. So you can look that up to see if whatever the information is. But as far as I understood, there was no authentication it's not automatically built in, just because the initial transaction that you started for the website is that way. This is actually separate. If you look carefully at my developer tools, it connected to the website and it connected to the same port, but it connected afterwards. So the man in the middle could technically attack could prevent you from connecting, and it could connect. You know what I mean? It would be using your SSL certificate, so it could only prevent you and connect itself. It couldn't say. Any other questions? All right, let's get something out there. So we're going to do something that's a little bit more sophisticated. So we're going to all go to raffle.azurewebsites.net. You guys see that online? I will go ahead and see if I can get that, I don't know, a little bit bigger. Let's copy it over here. So Raffle, as in R-A-F-F-L-E, R as in SignalR, Azure Websites, you've probably seen a million times that. Oh my. So I'm sorry, my website is Raffle, let me say this, it's raffler.azurewebsites.net. Raffle as in to raffle things out, R as in, it's like SignalR, .azurewebsites.net. And 4 of you guys, or 3 of you guys, and what I'll do in this case, because of the fact that it is you guys, I'll give away what I do. Actually, I better not. So again, Raffle, R.azurewebsites.net. I'm sorry, is everybody having can you lift up your hand if you are not able to get there? Yes, thank you. Look, you are the first guy who got it because you have the number 1 in there. That's fantastic. I love that. Thank you. So in this one, it's using SignalR. I don't know if I have it anywhere open source. I should. Whoops. But you can see here that I have a stage which has the number of tickets that are there, a back-end system that you can just trust me here, has a bunch of buttons in here, and a player version, similar to the quiz that we did. So I will have to open this source this one day. It's not that I don't have anything in there. I just don't remember where the code is. So it's that old. That's as everybody had and all that. So okay. So has everybody gone to art.azurewebsites.net? There's no coding. There's no nothing. You just get free software if you get in there. All right. So go ahead and look at your screens on your laptops. I'm going to press the button over there. This one like this. Over here, trust me, and number 3 turned red. Who's number 3? Wait a minute. Did you cheat?
I'm trying very
Oh, man. I don't know about that. Okay. Refresh the page. Refresh. Robert, did you get the software last time? You got the software last time, right? The software? No. You want it, Scott.
What software?
The JetBrains. I thought you won it last time. Okay, so let's do this again. Wonderful. We're going to be getting a free license to ReSharper. I'm going to go ahead and go here, and I'm going to press the button again. Ticket 3 has won. Thank you, Robert, for being so honest and letting us know that you've already won. I appreciate that. I press the button over there, and nothing happened over here. What happened here? You offline? Okay. Did anybody's number turn red? I think we got disconnected. That's what sort of happened. Yeah, right. 15. Who's number 15? Yeah. Wait a minute. Now I know what you're doing. So, did you get the license before? The JetBrains. Okay. Yeah. It's not me. Yeah. I put main, but I never said the word main. So you were reading more than I needed to. That's the main page. Where do you go? Okay. Well, for next time, just go to raffle.azurewebsites.net.
No.
I didn't say that. Yeah, but I never said that. I'm Damian, not Damian/Trump. I'm just Damian. I'll give you the software over here. Okay. Guys, thank you very much. Come and see us next month. And we'll have learn about Xamarin and figure out how to get mobile apps using your .NET skills. Thank you, guys.